Welcome back to Johnny Reads. As you can see, today's video is not going to be about anything at all related to books. It's obviously going to be about the new Netflix series Selena, which of course is based on Selena Quintanilla, the singer who everybody in Texas loves. So, two things. One, if you don't really want to watch because it's not about books, fine, no worries. And also, if you don't really want to hear about several different aspects of the new series on Netflix about Selena, then once again, it's probably going to be a good time for you to just stop watching. And so obviously today, as you can tell from the title, the video is going to be a fairly critical review of the show. And I'm going to just preface everything by saying, one, that I was born in 1991. And so everything that I know about Selena, it came after her death, obviously, because I was much too young to know anything when she actually died. Two, I'm Texan. Three, I'm also Mexican American. So even though I have literally like 5 videos lined up, when the show came out and premiered on Friday, December the 4th, when I started watching it and I really started getting a lot of different thoughts about it, I just felt like this was something that I wanted to do a video on. Yes, I know my channel is about books, but if you go back in the past, there's been a few instances when I do videos that are completely unrelated. Sometimes it's partially related to books, sometimes completely not at all. This time I just felt like, as a Mexican American in Texas, I just feel like this was something that I wanted to make a video about. And so, just going to the series at the very beginning, once again, full disclosure, again, everything that I know, everything that I've learned about Selena, it's all from after her death, because again, I'm too young to have been aware of anything before she died. And so, but just to go into the series now, obviously, if you know nothing and you live under a rock, the series, since it is going to be broken into 2 parts, the first part is 9 episodes, that's what was released on Friday. And the second part, I believe it's going to be released in 2021. Could be wrong, I don't know. And so the first part, it focuses like really on her childhood, and then also up until just about when she's on the cusp of really becoming like a household name in America. And I think it gets to the year of 92, but I could be wrong on that. It's right around there. It's right 91, 92 is right where the series will get up to, and then I assume that obviously the second part will be in those other last couple of years of her life. And so I want to start with what I'm going to say is my positive, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's only one that I have, and that's not very good. So the one positive that I have, and I think this was a given no matter who's doing the series, no matter when, is that it's a largely Hispanic cast, and they're telling, of course, a truly Hispanic and Mexican American story. I actually have quite a few negatives that I want to touch on. And the very first one, and I swear this was probably 2 episodes in that I was already thinking this, and it lasted throughout the 9 episodes of the first part, is the soundtrack. I don't know if soundtrack is the right word for it, but just the music that accompanies the show. And I thought going in, you could 100% do the soundtrack or the music that accompanies the show as Selena's. 100% you could do everything with just her music. They chose not to do that. And then I thought my second option was they could do just Tejana music. They did not do that either. So for some reason, and I'm sure that there's some reasoning for it that I'm just unaware of. There's some rationale, I'm sure. But the music, it seems, and I could be wrong because again, I wasn't alive during this time, but it seems to me like it's 70s and 80s is like really what's used for the musical backdrop for the show. And I hate it. I mean, when I say I hate it, I really hated it. Every time that they play some like super uppity and dance song, like I get that she was in that era and the family was in that era, but this is about Selena. And it just seems like the music is out of place the entire time. And I just hated it the entire time. The second thing that I want to talk about is that even though it's 9 parts, so 9 episodes, anybody who's watched Netflix, I'm sure you're well aware if you've ever watched one of their original series, one of their dramas, they routinely have 55, sometimes 60-minute regular episodes in their series. And this is a drama. These episodes range from 30 to 40 minutes throughout, and some of them are as low as like 32 minutes, 33 minutes. And so the entire show, even though you think 9 episodes is a long time, the entire show still seems rushed, and it seems a lot of information is crammed, and it seems like a lot of the detail is just lost because there's no time. And I don't understand why they decided to go with like these 30-minute episodes, 35-minute episodes when we're telling a life story essentially, and it just seems rushed, and it just seems like a lot of information is crammed in. Like you would expect to get a lot more information from the show than you did in the movie, which was like a little bit over 2 hours. And to be completely honest, it's really not at all, which is, it's just a miss. I think going into the show, I read some of like the reviews and stuff. Not like, I didn't read, 100 of them, but I read a few of the reviews, and I was kind of coming to a conclusion of, okay, clearly there's people who have some thoughts on this show, and maybe they're not always good. That's okay. Not everything's going to be, 95% Rotten Tomatoes, right? But one of the things that I saw, and I saw it multiple times, it wasn't just in like one review on like some out there publication, is that the show, for some reason, almost has Selena in the background. And what I mean is, it is almost entirely focused on the family. And we get it. Like, we know the family, not only being part of the band, not only her brother being her producer and songwriter, her dad being, the manager, and really pushing them all to get to that point of where they were. We know that 100%. But it was so focused on Suzette, so focused on AB, so focused on Abraham, her dad. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that Selena is essentially in the shadow of her own show. And again, when I was kind of thinking about just my own thoughts, not only for the video, but also just in watching the show, I literally thought it could have been called The Quintanillas instead of Selena. Selena is the titular character, and she's in the background. And doesn't really make sense. Like, I understand that you want to expand on some of the information, on some of the story that maybe not everybody knows of, but it was too much. It was just too much. And again, going back to the creators, it's a miss. And then just the very last thing that I wanted to mention about the series is that, to me, because of my opinion, the misguided focus on the family way more than on Selena herself, I just feel like it doesn't add to anything that we know of why she is an icon, why she's so revered. Nothing at all. Because you don't get any of her. I mean, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you don't get... Like, I would have preferred it to be more into Selena herself. I just felt like, with how misguided the focus was, that it didn't add anything to the legacy of Selena. And I just think overall it fell way, way short of my expectations. And I'm sure that I cannot be the only person, because there are going to be people probably like my parents and maybe even older siblings who are older, and they would have a lot more exposure to Selena when she was, of course, this rising star. And I imagine for them the feeling would be probably even worse, because I'm coming at it from a perspective of a Mexican American Texan, but they would be coming from a perspective of a fan. And so I just thought it just fell way short. That's all I have for you today. Just want to talk about Selena a little bit, the series on Netflix. As I mentioned, it premiered on December the 4th on Netflix. Obviously, all the episodes are streaming now. What did you think? Have you watched it? Let me know, and I will see you next time.